did quick search on YouTube. I didn't find much information. It's actually a lot of people use that little trauma, but let's talk about it. Um, First of all, uh, most of the time we don't remember our little traumas because everyone knows about big traumas like, let's say, car accident, war, abuse, whatever. We remember such things, but we don't recall our little traumas. And why we don't recall them? Because at first, in our society, we just dismiss them because maybe oftentimes we can hear from our parents it's not a big deal, move on. Even car accident, if you're stuck on that experience, you might have such things like people say like, why you stuck there? It's in the past, just move on. So that's issue in our social interaction. We tend to dismiss them. And because we know we're going to dismiss, we won't talk to anyone about our little traumas because we won't feel understood. And of course, if it's a big deal for you and so you talk to someone and they will just dismiss your feelings and they say like, move on, you are a big girl, big man. Why you like making a fuss of such a little things? And we can feel shamed because again, it's not a big deal. We shouldn't be making such a big deal. And another case, even if it's small issue, it can be for you as a safety issue. Maybe it didn't, you didn't have that exact safety issue, but you were scared because it's going to be safety issue for you. That's a case. Now I'm going to share with you my little trauma, which I didn't remember. And once I released it, I understood why I didn't remember it. So I was doing somatic exercises for myself, and I had something like I felt it stored here, my trauma. What exactly, I didn't know. And I was trying to release it. I was doing every single day. I was not moving to any direction, and it was already like I was doing it for 1 month. And I was trying to lose any hope that eventually I will do it because there was really no progress at all. And I was losing my motivation to continue do them, at least on regular basis. And I was skipping, like, okay, I'm not gonna do it today because I'm tired, because it doesn't make any sense. I don't feel any better. Why doing if there is no any positive impact for you? It's quite hard to be motivated when you don't feel or do not see any results. And back then, I was like saying, okay, I need someone to support me so I continue do them because I knew I need to release it. So at that point, I created my channel to find out who will do it with me. But then I realized it's not easy to grow your channel at all on YouTube. And around like after 2 weeks, I was able to release that trauma. And I don't need to have any motivation because I didn't find actually in my body in any other place to release. It was only here and here actually. So for that one, I knew what exactly. It's actually when you try to speak, to talk about it, or asking for help, and you didn't do that. So which words supposed to be come up from your throat, they were stuck here. So you have like tension here, that probably you went silent where you're supposed to talk to someone. And actually, right now, I use YouTube to talk about something. Because if you think about it, do you have anyone to talk about all this stuff unless you go to talk therapy? I was in talk therapy for 2 years, and that was a place where I can talk about something. But if you cannot afford, and even if you have friends, uh, sometimes you cannot talk every single topic with your friends. That's what I found. At least I have some topics which I cannot talk to anyone because people do not want to talk about it. Actually, I created this live thing so because I had this urgency to talk about something. I just yesterday and today listened to podcasts about mental health, Peter IT and Peter Levine. There is a pretty good actually interview with Peter Levine, but I can tell you I didn't see much interviews with Peter Levine. That's one woman actually. She has Peter IT and Peter Levine, like two podcasts which are actually kind of unique. Um, Compared to other interviews. I usually do not like most interviews because they ask completely wrong questions and because they don't have such experience. So, okay, go back to my little trauma. So once in one day, I was able to release my little trauma from here, and memory comes to my brain. And usually, I know all my traumas because when I was in talk therapy, eventually, when we not moving in any direction, my therapist asked like write down a list of traumas. She said any traumas, little traumas, even if it's like not a big deal. So you should write it down. I did that list. That was not in that list, of course, because I don't remember. I was remembered only because I was trying to release it. Like, and it was, it was like 20 years ago. I'm like, that's not a big deal. Maybe that was a big deal back then, but after 20 years, it's not a big deal. And I know why it was not a big deal because it was kind of repeated trauma. Let's say we'll do this kind of completely, like everyone can imagine car accident. Let's say you've been in a car incident, something major, whenever you were scared. And then after that, you had minor car accident. And that minor car accident compared to big one, it's not a big deal. But when you go to the same trauma in the same kind of thing, like car accident, you reliving your trauma because you remember that big trauma. When you have that little trauma, you're reliving it that one. And back then, I remember it kind of was my friend was with me, kind of, and I told her what's happened, but we didn't talk much. And she said, no, I didn't have any issues. So it was only me involved on that event. And so, and I really felt ashamed, by the way, because I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to process. So basically, for me, it was reliving my trauma again, but it's just in smaller scale. So I think why it was stuck, but I didn't find actually place in my body for my first big trauma. I didn't find it on. I don't know if it's still somewhere in my body, but I was able to find my little trauma. I released that one. And I think why it was got stuck because I was relieving. Then I didn't talk much about that experience. It's like 1 minute conversation. Kind of, I wouldn't count it as kind of having support because I didn't really. Yes, I told what happened, but I didn't get any support actually. I didn't get emotional support for that event. The fact that you share with someone, but you're not getting back anything from that person, like acknowledgement, yeah, you had like terrible experience, blah blah blah. I didn't get that from my friend. From her, it was like, no, I didn't have anything like that. It was completely fine. And so I believe I felt dismissed and not understood. So I back then I didn't process that little trauma. And that was interesting. Even like after 20 years ago, I don't consider that a big deal, but I felt such a difference in my digestive system after that because it's almost like next week I didn't have bloating. My digestive system was starting to work much better. It was such a significant. I was surprised actually. And of course, most people and probably most YouTube, even if you read books about trauma, you see the big events, but no one talks about small events, little traumas, and especially how to release that little traumas. Do you have anything? If you find anything, let me know. Because even releasing big traumas, any childhood traumas, it's quite difficult. You don't have much information. So, and what I'm thinking, let's say you had neglect, you had sexual abuse, or whatever, you most likely have little traumas in your life. Like, let's say neglected, or someone, um, what kind of example? Let's say your parents left you when you were very small, non-verbal stage. It's usually before 2, 3 years old. Left with someone, and your mom went to somewhere. I don't know, maybe travel, vacation, whatever. That was a big trauma. Then later on, you left with someone else, and you're already on the verbal stage, and you remember that one. And for example, it was not pleasant, let's say, but it wasn't like a big deal, huge deal. And if you talk about it, people say like, this is not a big deal. Why you even talk about that one? But in this case, you don't remember your big trauma, for example, or you remember big trauma, and then you have this little trauma. You're reliving. That's the issue. Most people want to talk about little trauma. They say like, yeah, maybe you hypersensitive person, super sensitive person. That's the reason you making little trauma like a big deal. But maybe you're reliving your other traumas. It just scale is so little that no one understood you and no one will understand except maybe your therapist because they will teach like there is no like little or big traumas. Everything is a big deal. That's what my therapist told me. And a regular person will not understand. So keep in mind that one. Yes, some people maybe recall their big traumas, but if it was non-verbal age, you don't recall that trauma. When you have something which you make a big deal, you need to think about maybe it's not because you are not kind of super sensitive person or not adequate person. Maybe because you had that trauma which do not you recall. You do not recall. You do not remember. There are a lot of people with traumas with on a young age when they do not remember it. You cannot remember. I have several of them actually on that age. So keep in mind that one. It can be hard to release. And I know for sure, women or even men, if they have sexual abuse, they have usually they relived that trauma later on. It can be, for example, let's say someone will hug you, but you don't want to hug. Let's say someone else want to hug you. You don't want to hug with that person, and he forced you to hug you without your consent. In this case, you will be reliving your trauma on a smaller scale because you don't want that, or whenever, or they will try to. I cannot come up with ideas, or they will try you verbally convince you to have sex with them. For example, trying to push you to pressure. Yeah, I want sex with you. You should be going to my direction and do sex with me, basically. It can be actually in couples when you're married, and for example, your husband wants sex, you don't want sex, and he trying to push you mentally. In this case, you again, you kind of reliving your trauma on smaller scale. The more you have such things, the more traumatic it will be. In my opinion, it's going to be kind of accumulation. So, and I remember when I was very young, maybe around my 20s, someone was talking about like, should I have sex with my husband if I don't want to? And I think, honestly, no, I don't do that. It's personal choice. For myself, I had the rule. If I don't want to, I won't have. And if another person do not agree with the thing, I'm not on the same page as that person, our ways don't go to the same direction. That person goes to opposite direction. So break up. And that's interesting. I had actually there is was a kind of concept in men that you're supposed to be I want it and you're supposed to be like doing that one. Like a lot of men will be like this. That doesn't mean there are no other men. I remember it was question from one woman, like my men keep looking to other woman, like really staring at them, and she was asking, is that normal? And I told her, my husband never does it, never. That's not normal. And sometimes we need to get confirmation, especially if you dated with someone and you always had that experience when you're not looking at them, they staring at someone. But yeah, that doesn't mean if you have exactly the same experience over and over again, that doesn't mean it's normal. You need to ask how other people actually live if you don't have access to talk therapy. Because in talk therapy, they will tell you you're just selecting every single time to go in a romantic relationship with the same type of man. That's it. Okay, it's already 20 minutes. I will end this. I think I had my agenda actually here, so I can talk and do not forget about Sometimes I will talk without any script, and then, oh, I didn't talk about that one, I didn't talk about that one. And I don't like that one because it will stay in my mind, and then I need to go back and redo it or whatever. Okay. In any case, oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you, you can go to my Patreon page and join free there. Actually, there is a paid membership, but there is free membership too. You can go and join there. So leave me a comment below if you have any question and what do you think about little dramas? Do you call anything? Because what I don't like, everybody talks about it, but nobody talks what to do about this and what is behind it. In my belief, behind all these little dramas, there is a big drama. You don't remember it, or maybe you don't link them together because sometimes you need to have therapies which maybe explain to you that big drama related to your little drama because they are from the same thing, let's say from attachment style or whatever. Okay. Thank you. Bye. And have a good day.